Down Tri-State delays are Southwest Highway to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway's gummed up, 31 to Wyola. Northbound Veterans Memorial delays are at Boughton. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cold day ahead, partial sunshine and a high of 34. 25 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retire Chicago. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 to Retire Chicago with John McNamara of McNamara Capital.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We've been remiss in not getting to this earlier, but we've been beset by impeachment theater. Jamie Dimon featured on 60 Minutes this week. He endured an interview with Leslie Stahl, who is remarkably economically illiterate, actually. Jamie Dimon, of course, CEO, J.P. Morgan Chase, the survivor in terms of bank honchos from the Great Recession. He marshals on. He wades into politics from time to time. He's certainly been critical of Trump and a little bit braggadocious. I could beat Trump. I'm smarter, blah, blah, blah. But he's also more recently wading into politics with respect to Elizabeth Warren and the class envy politicians that are looking to soak the rich to make all of their socialist dreams come true. Here's Jamie Dimon on Miss Warren and those of her ilk.
She said the system is working great for the wealthy and well-connected, and Jamie Dimon, she brings you up, doesn't want that to change.
I'm not going to comment on anyone in particular.
But she's commenting on you. You've become a target, whether you want to respond to it or not. You're her target, and you're Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's target.
I understand that a person in this seat is going to be a target in this day and age of certain politicians and stuff like that. But the notion that I'm not a patriot or that some of these other folks aren't patriots, that's just dead wrong. So, my view is let's all work together, and I don't mind if a few barbs are thrown my way by anybody.
Yeah, it's just, here's the thing about big bank honchos like Dimon and Fortune 500 CEOs. Generally speaking, there are exceptions, of course. They're just so Pollyannish and juvenile when it comes to their political discourse. Hey, Jamie, we're not going to all just be able to work together, are we? Because some of us are socialists that are in the business of plunder, and others of us are not. So there's a bit of a fight that we're going to have to wage. I'm sorry. I know it would all be great if life was a kindergarten class, but that's not how it works. And you know better than anybody. So why don't you stop with the disingenuousness and start talking like an actual human being who conveys what he knows to be true? I find Dimon's remarks, even though he's a whiz financially, I respect what he's done. Mm-hmm. But I find his remarks and the remarks of people who are successful in one space and then think because of their success in one space, they can come in and start lecturing everybody about how life should work, about how a free society should be organized. You know what? You can't if you're not going to be honest. And Jamie Dimon's not honest when he offers refrigerator magnet comments like that. It's silly. It's beneath him. Now, on things he does know something about, like macroeconomics, he offered this assessment of the economy, much to the chagrin of Leslie Stahl and others who are rooting for a global recession, to take out Trump. Anything to take out Trump. Destroy America's economy to take out Trump.
The consumer, which is 70% of the U.S. economy, is quite strong. Confidence is very high. Their balance sheet's in great shape. And you see that the strength of the American consumer is driving an American economy and a global economy. And while business slowed down, my current view is that no, it just was a slowdown, not a petering out.
You sound pretty optimistic about the economy.
Well, I am. This is the most prosperous economy the world's ever seen, and it's going to be a very prosperous economy for the next 100 years.
There you go. Take a long view on America so long as we don't abandon free minds and free markets. There's the caveat. But I agree with Dimon on that. One more topic he covered insufficiently and in the typical retreat fashion of the pandering CEO. Income inequality.
We haven't done a good job growing our economy, and that would have fixed a lot of that problem.
Executive pay. Last year, you were paid $31 million. Too high?
The board sets mine. I have nothing to do with it.
Well, you could return some of it.
I could. Is that going to solve any of those problems?
I don't know.
Is it going to solve any of those problems?
No, but you could set an example, say, I'm not going to take all that money. Okay. I don't need it.
I could. I'm going to leave it to the board to set my comp. Not you, not the press.
You've answered
my board,
every one of my questions, but this one you're fobbing off.
Yeah, the board has to do it.
Well, let me ask it in a general way. Should executive pay in this country be curbed?
What does that mean?
Cut back. Should there be a way to say we're not going to have such a spread between our workers and the guy at the top?
When you say something like that, you got to say, how are you going to do it? What does it make sense? I think you use the tax system to do that. I would not have cut the tax on the rich. I would have expended your earned income tax credit instead, which is like a negative income tax for lower paid people. We probably should change the minimum wage, which I don't think it's been changed for like 10 or 15 years. There are solutions to these problems. The problems are real. It does not mean free enterprise is bad.
This is pathetic. He has to pander. He just talked about we haven't done a good job of growing our economy and then providing more opportunities and more wage growth, although that certainly spiked during the Trump years. To follow up, if Leslie Stahl had beyond sort of a sixth grade understanding of economics. I'm sorry, Mr. Diamond, you just said we haven't done a good job of growing our economy. Cutting the earned income tax credit or expanding the earned income tax credit, increasing the minimum wage. Are those pro-growth policies? No. Increasing taxes on productive people, that a pro-growth policy? You said we should do opportunity through the tax system. That pro-growth? No. Why are you speaking out of both sides of your mouth? With respect to your compensation, who sets it? And I'm not going to listen. You said the board sets it. I return for our investors. I made $31 million, Leslie. Here's the context that you're not including. J.P. Morgan Chase racked up $32 billion in profits last year. So my compensation represents less than 1% of our profitability last year. 31 million, a lot of money. $32 billion in profits for our shareholders and employees and for us to employ all the people that we employ globally. You want to add that context to your discussion of executive pay with respect to me and any other executive of any other company, from the sole proprietorship to the Fortune 100 CEO? His answers are pathetic, really disgraceful. For more on this topic, as well as Trumponomics, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, and author of Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Do you agree with my assessment of Jamie Dimon?
You're pretty tough on Jamie Dimon.
I'm sick of it.
Look, I think the big story here is the way the left is simply denigrating economic success. And that is troubling to me, deeply troubling. I mean, I don't like necessarily Mark Zuckerberg. I don't agree with any of his politics. I don't agree with a lot of Jamie Dimon's politics or, so many of these, billionaires. But my God, these are people who built great businesses and employ, in many cases, hundreds of thousands of people. And the idea that somehow they are villains is so contrary to the whole idea of the American dream. And the fact that Jamie Dimon has, I don't know what his wealth is, let's say it's $3 or $4 billion, that doesn't make anyone else poor. It's not like his success comes at the expense of anyone else. In fact, the great entrepreneurs of our time, the people like Fred Smith, who built FedEx, who's a billionaire. I mean, how many millionaires has he created? How many services has he provided for tens of millions of people around the world? How many people has he employed? I mean, why do we tear these people down as if they're some kind of villain?
Well, that's exactly right. Now, I wanted to also get to Trump's speech at the Economic Club of New York the other day. We talked about it a bit
Did
yesterday.
You see he recited my statistics about the, that he led with the idea that, that I've been, writing about in the Wall Street Journal, that the average middle-income American has $5,000 more income today than they did when he was elected, compared to $1,000 more income under Obama. I mean, that's a phenomenal number, and it's something that Republicans use all the time.
And actually, as he explained, it's really $10,000 when you include the increased purchasing power through largely through deregulation and expanded energy production. So when you include the purchasing power for the consumer, you really have a real $10,000 increase in household income for the median household, which is so 10x Obama, which is fantastic. But he also talked.
By the way, that might be a slight exaggeration on the part of Trump. I mean, I don't know,
might be
$10,000, however. But look, the fact is, people, the whole Democratic line. First, it was that if Donald Trump was elected president, he would cause a second Great Depression, right? I mean, he's going to destroy the world economy if he's elected. And then, lo and behold, here we are, almost 3 years later, and we've got the best economy in 30 years. And we have 7 million surplus jobs. We have wages rising. The middle class is doing better than ever. So they have to explain that. And so, they say, well, this is just a continuation of Obama's policies. Wait a minute. Under Obama, incomes in 7 years went up $1,000. In 3 years, they're up $5,000 under Trump. What Republicans do a terrible job of is connecting the dots, that this didn't happen by accident. It wasn't an act of God. It was that we changed the tax system. We lowered our tax rates. We deregulated the economy. We promoted American energy. All of these things that have liberated the economy. But I don't know, Republicans couldn't sell water in a desert. They're such pathetic messengers.
Well, do you think that this whole impeachment inquiry is going to affect the stock markets, going to affect the economy?
I think the one thing, first of all, I think most Americans just think that this is a circus. It's unbelievable. I'm embarrassed, actually. They bring up these career diplomats, quote, I'm using that as career diplomats, or people just hate Trump. I mean, the State Department, I've been in this town for 35 years. Everybody, with very few exceptions, everyone who is at the State Department is a flaming liberal. I mean, that's just the truth. They hate Trump. They hate everything he stands for. And if they're opposed to his policies, they should resign they should get out of the State Department, put people in who want to, look, nobody elected these people. They're career, bureaucrats. And so I just think it makes Washington look bad. I think it makes Congress look bad. And by the way, I'm not defending Trump's actions on Ukraine. I do think there should be a congressional censure of what he did. But impeachment, we're going to tie up this country for 5 months on an impeachment process when we have an election 11 months. I just find it ridiculous.
I want to get back to trade. He made some pronouncements. He made some pronouncements on China during his speech at the Economic Club. So similar things he said prior to. And there was a lot of suggestion over the last few days that we're close to a phase one deal. Maybe it's being held up by how much farm goods, ag goods China's going to purchase or whatever. Yeah. And then Navarro seemed to throw some cold water on it yesterday, basically telling us to just hold our horses and relax. We'll get to it when we get to it. I don't like to hear that, and I don't like to hear much from Peter Navarro. But where do you think a phase one deal is? How imminent is it?
It's tough. I mean, look, this is really difficult because it's the Beijing, the government in Beijing, the leaders there they don't keep their word. They're dishonest. They keep moving the ball in the goal line, and so it's frustrating not just to Trump, but Lighthizer and the others who are negotiating. So look, I'm very hopeful that this round one gets done, and I know everybody in the White House is very hopeful it is. But you can't trust these people. I mean, these are bad people over in China, and they don't have Western values of keeping their word. So, I'm not trying to pour cold water on this. I'm really hopeful that this gets done because I think it'll be hugely beneficial for the U.S. economy and for the stock market. But I wouldn't be surprised if this, if they walk away from the table again. This is what the China has been doing for the last 2 years. So I just don't know the answer to your question because we're dealing with people who are not honest. And if they see a political advantage to pulling away from the deal, I think they will. And look, they don't face elections in November of next year. Trump does, and they understand that.
The other item that Trump mentioned that I wanted to get your reaction to was, and Republicans don't talk enough about, in my estimation, the number of people that have been lifted off of government dependency. 2 million people he mentioned No longer on food stamps, no longer on the welfare rolls. They're back to work.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's an incredible story. And by the way, another related story to that, Dan and Amy, is this one I love. The child poverty rate and family poverty rate in the United States is lower now than it's been in like 30 years. So things are going well. This is really good. I was laughing, when you played that bit from Leslie Stahl. She kind of scoffed when Jamie Dimon said it's a good economy. You're like, what planet is she on? This is the best economy. We have the lowest unemployment rate, the lowest inflation rate, the lowest mortgage interest rates, the highest wage gains in like 30 years. This is about as good as it gets.
She's on Planet Beltway Media. That's what planet she's on.
Exactly. And you're right. Dan, you are right. They are actively rooting against the American economy. They want a recession. These are people who say how much they care about middle class and working class people, but they'd love to see millions of them lose their jobs so they can get back power, because that's all they care about. They care about power.
He is economist Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, author of Trumponomics. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thanks. He joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I started taking them about 7.5 years ago. It was right after I lost my husband. My husband passed away. I was grieving so bad I wasn't eating at all. I mean, I just didn't care. And so I heard the advertisements on the radio, and I thought, well, my family's upset about me. I got to get myself straight, and I started taking them. So I always say they kind of saved my life, They gave me back my life. I would say that.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751, or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Is your child falling behind academically? Is he overwhelmed, distracted, or unable to focus? Does your daughter lack confidence? Well, it's not too late to consider the outstanding education and preparation for life that St. John's Northwestern Military Academy offers. For 135 years, St. John's Northwestern has prepared teens for college and beyond within a safe, secure, and structured environment that's really free from distractions, and it's optimal for learning. St. John's Northwestern attracts teens grades 7 through 12 who are capable of achieving more but just may need guidance and encouragement to get there. St. John's Northwestern inspires personal growth through a commitment to